Welcome back to Loan Officer Success Partners, sponsored by Premier Lending. Hey, this week we've got, and and RETR is here in the building. Let's say we bring the heat over here. And this week, man, we brought the volcano. It's as hot as it could be. One of the best programs that I've found in the mortgage space today. And I've got CEO Steven Wynands. RETR is the program. And man, brother, thank you so much for jumping on the show.
Dude, huge thanks to you for having me here, man. You are awesome, Devin.
Yeah, well, dude, I just try to stand in your spotlight, my brother. You know, I mean, you guys are out there doing some great things. And again, you know, one thing that I love is people that are out there bringing tools to this industry that they actually need, and then innovating tools as they go, right? You know, because what you've put out there is a product that people truly need. There were other people in the space, but it just wasn't providing the exact needs that our industry has, right? And you recognize that, and you said, hey, let's build it. But then you didn't stop there. You said, let's just keep building this thing and building this thing. And man, that's what I love about y'all. You guys are so responsive with the ask from the people that need it. And you guys just have your hands in so many different projects, you know, and that's why I wanted to bring you on the show today, just to talk about what you already have and maybe get a little insider secret on some of the stuff that you guys are bringing to market. So Steven, man, so where are you from originally?
Born and raised in Northern Virginia.
Northern Virginia. Very cool. You know, I've never been up to Virginia. So born there, raised there, stayed there, or have you moved around at all?
No, it's just been here, man. My parents came over from the Vietnam War. There's a big Vietnamese community out here. And so, let's see, my mom had like 9 other brothers and sisters. And this is just where everyone settled.
That's
and
it.
So when the whole community comes, that's where you stay.
That's it, man. So friends, family, everybody's there. But a little confused because it's Steven Wynands. And you just said you guys are from Vietnam. How does that work?
Well, if you want to be technical about it, you can call me Wynands because it's German. I actually took my wife's last name because, as you can imagine, when it comes to like Lee or Nguyen, I'm like, I don't know which Lee or Nguyen I come from, but my wife, she knows exactly which Wynands she comes from, and it's so like this one's so cool. Like, there's like castles and stuff that she can trace her ancestry back to. And when she met one of my best friends from 4th grade, they just by those last names, they're like, wait a minute. Like, she talked to my friends, like, are you Julik from the Julik family? She's like, wow. Yes. From Germany? Yes. She's like, your ancestors tried to assassinate mine. I was like, this is really cool. We're going to keep your last name. There's stories.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, it definitely filled that gap in for me. You know, what's funny is my background, Dubuc, is French, but on my mother's side was Vanderbilt. And so those German last names definitely have heritage, right? I know when I say the word Vanderbilt, people immediately perk up, right? Ooh, and no, we don't have any money anymore. We're not on that side. We did come from that. But apparently at some point in time, one of the Vanderbilts decided to move to Kansas and lost all ties with the New York Vanderbilts. But if you trace it backwards, that's where we're from, right?
Okay, I'm going to give you one more then that has nothing to do with what we came to talk about. But as we're going down this route to entertain everyone else, it used to be Von Wynands, but one of the ancestors had a gambling problem and lost their royal title in some kind of card game or something.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, so we're assassinating families and not from the New York Vanderbilts. But hey, at the end of the day, man, you know, so you grew up West Virginia or northern West Virginia. Did I get that right?
Northern Virginia, just 20 minutes outside DC. So
outside DC, my man, my man. And did you just were you always in this side of the business, right? In the tech world, or where'd you get your start?
Oh, yeah. You know, like I came out of the womb and I was like, I want to get into real estate and mortgage. And that's the path I went down, dude. That's exactly what happened.
You were super stoked. Yeah. You're like, this is it, man. Let's go. Game on.
It's like, hey, if I'm going to be a good agent and be good at math, I'm going to be the best at math, calculate 3% commissions and just let's go for it. My man. But no, like, all right. So Northern Virginia, we're a very insulated area here, just being near DC, our proximity to DC. There's so much government work. There's government contracting work.
That's right.
And there's a formula here where you get good grades, you go to college, you get a government contracting job or a government job, have kids, build up your retirement fund, you know, and send your kids down the same path.
That's it.
And that's exactly the path I was on.
Rinse, recycle.
That's it. I got my engineering degree. I was working at Booz Allen. I worked at Deloitte, and then I was gonna have kids. So I was like, you know what? I want to be there for my kids because my parents weren't around for
Mm,
me. I got a government job. I took a huge pay cut. I got a government job, and I was on that very road. And I even had my early retirement calculated about
yeah,
how I was going to retire early and retire on a government pension.
the whole
Had it
plan.
all figured out. That I was in that path, man.
You
Yeah.
knew it. That's what you were doing. So how do we just, switch gears out of nowhere, right? You're like, what am I going to do next?
Yeah, yeah. Like these past 15 years have not gone according to plan.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening was I bought and sold my first home, and I was like, seriously,
Mm,
like this is how real estate works. Like, how much money did those realtors make for what did they do? I wasn't feeling it. Like the way I was treated by some realtors out there,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
what I know they're getting paid and how self-important they were. I got so upset, man. And one
I want to
thing,
draw a line in the
yeah.
sand there real quick. There are some great agents out there. There are
hmm
some really great that do a lot of
Dude,
stuff.
I came to learn that, but I didn't know that till later.
You just didn't get the luxury of
Dude,
working with the right person.
no, it took me
Yeah.
like over 10 years to figure out how this all
Yeah.
works, and that's why we built Redder today. But like when I went through that process,
Right.
a thing for me is when I see something that's inefficient, I want to fix it. When I see
Mhm.
something that's unfair, I want to fix it, no matter what it is,
Yeah.
who it is. Like I want to make things better. That's just the person that I am. So I went through this process, and I was like very unhappy with the whole real estate thing. So I tried to build something to get rid of all realtors. We spent a few years on that, and we helped a lot of people,
Yeah.
saved them a lot of money, created a lot of opportunities. But my wife was very upset at me because
Mm,
we were having our first child, and I was gone nights and weekends working at my
yeah.
co-founder's house, and I was
Yeah.
chasing people down on Craigslist to help them with their for sale by owner stuff. So we built a thing, helped other people, just didn't help ourselves. And
Yeah. Yeah.
from that experience, like I learned so much about real estate that everyone was telling me to get my real estate license, and I
Right.
refused because as an engineer, like I'm like I'm not going to get into sales. No, I got an engineering degree. What are you talking about? So I finally did. I got my real estate license, and then the world changed because everyone's like, "Oh, Steve, you're a realtor now. Can you help me buy and sell my house?" And
Mm,
I out of nowhere, because of the last 2 years of building this other thing, I developed a following I didn't know about, and so like showing up on real estate on Facebook, talking
yeah.
about it. People are watching, they're listening. So even
Yeah.
if they're not like interacting, they're watching, they're
They
listening.
are
You're your
watching.
audience.
Yeah.
So
100%.
from nowhere, I became a top realtor, and as I was doing that, like I went through a bunch of transactions, and exactly what you said, I learned that there are a lot of good realtors out there just trying to do the right thing, feed their
Yeah.
families, help their borrowers.
Well, I want to talk about something real quick because you talked
Yeah.
about, developing the software that, effectively, didn't work out the way that you wanted to, and
hmm
that we learn more from our failures than our successes, right? And I think that's really important for people to know, right? That's how we get better, right? We don't get better by winning all the time, right? We got to lose sometimes to scale up. But, you also were promoting a lot of the stuff that you were doing, and you built a following. So what we know, Stephen, is people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And because of the fact that you were out there building something that people could stand behind and knew that you were doing it for the right reasons, they automatically trusted you. So you scale into the real estate side of the business, engineered a real estate agent. No, not sure that I've heard that ever, right? But you do it. And how's that work out?
Oh, you would have like based on what you're saying, you'd think it'd be great, but no, I wasn't done failing yet. So, so, I became a top realtor, and I realized, like, dude, we had it wrong this entire time. There's good people out there. We just got to help shine that light on the good realtors doing good work.
That's right.
How do we show consumers and borrowers out there that there's an emphasis of quality over quantity? How do we do that? And in my head, I was like, you know what? We got to create this system where realtors rate each other because realtors, we can trick. Like, I am still an active realtor. I'm like, we can trick buyers all day if we really want to, but
That's
you
it.
can't trick another realtor because we know what's up.
Yeah.
And so, like I told you already, we spent like 2 years building that failure of a system. Our wives were
Yeah.
angry at us.
Yeah.
And so I called up my co-founder, Steve. I said, hey, Steve, I have an idea.
So we got Steve and Steven.
Yep, that's right. I was like, dude, hear me out on this one. Sorry about those last 2 years. I have an idea. Let me talk to you about it. So I went over to his house that weekend. I spent the weekend there, and we launched a thing on Monday, right after that weekend, so that realtors were rating each other. We built it, and I thought it was a failure, but turns out ended up working out really well to the point where like 500,000 realtors are logged onto it from around the country.
It's huge.
Yeah. And so that sounds awesome, right? Like it sounds like a success, but what I here's
success for realtors, real quick, Steven. I mean, it's because now you can rate the people you're doing business with so that people don't go into a contract with somebody that's not gonna do their job, right?
You got it, man. That's exactly why I did it. I just want people to have a smooth process. This is
That's
like
huge.
it's a huge part of your life. If you get delayed, sidetracked, you fall out of contract, you know, you move your moving truck has to come a week later. These are the worst things you want to avoid. And so
That's right.
by working with great realtors, you can avoid exactly that.
100%.
Right. And then, but what I learned from this is it was a success, but not a commercial success because they weren't really paying anything for it and they didn't want to. But it's
so you built some free software that does some really amazing things and helps a lot of people, just not you.
Yes, but
or other Steve at this point in time, right?
You know it. But this whole time though, so now I'm a realtor now, right? Like, okay, I'm a top realtor. I've got a full-time government job. I've got this startup. I'm flipping homes, and I've got a rental portfolio. So I'm doing all these 5 things all this time, and because of this, my production as a realtor, I'm getting calls all the time from loan officers and title companies during this period, and they're like, "Hey, Steve, come, can I take you out to lunch, coffee?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And as soon as they found out we had this big platform with realtors all over the place, they're like, let me give you thousands of dollars right now. I want to advertise your site. But I've switched from engineer Steve to realtor Steve. Yeah. And so I'm like, absolutely not. I'll never sell out my own kind. Leave my realtors alone. We just want to get some work done.
Yeah.
And so this happened for years and years, not making any money really. And people kept on coming after us. And then the pandemic market came along. You couldn't get a return phone call or text from any loan officer, right? Yeah. And so that was fine. I understood that eventually. And then one day, out of nowhere, I got 5 calls in a row from loan officers. They never would have spoken to you for the past year and a half. And all of a sudden, my phone is ringing off the hook. I'm like, what the heck's going on? And after the 3rd call, I actually realized, I'm like, holy crap, I get it now. Like, it's not just me, the realtor, trying to help you buy a home. It's like this entire industry works in a certain way. Like, in order to achieve the American dream of home ownership, you need the realtor to open those doors, write those contracts. You need the loan officer to fund that dream. And everyone's got to work together toward that.
Amen.
Loan officers have been doing so much work, getting no credit for it, like begging me to invest to improve their business, to improve their partners' businesses, to learn systems, to educate their realtor partners. And I finally understood. I was like, I get it now. Like, loan officers, you do so much work. You don't get enough credit. And I saw some unfairness. I was like, I have to fix this. Like,
light bulb went off.
Yeah, I was like, I need to give loan officers their dues. But I'm like, all right, loan officers, you're trying to approach me as a realtor. If you're trying to create a business relationship, you need to create business value, right?
That's right.
And lunch and coffee, not value to a top producer. Like,
that's right.
If you want to help me lose weight, that's value. Gaining weight with more lunch and coffee, not value. So I was like, wait a minute. I want to help you, and I know exactly what realtors need. I'm going to build that, and I'm going to give it to loan officers. And that's how the idea for RETR was born in 2022.
That's huge, man. That's huge. So 2022, light bulb went off. You threw the cape on and said, look, man, we're going to save some people.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And now we've got RETR, which is not even RETR. What does it stand for?
The thing that's so valuable to real estate agents, real estate track record, that button, if you're on RETR that says instant track record, that's the gold.
Yeah.
But I think you stopped me from saying real estate track record or RETR. I think you just said, what did you say? What did you say, Devin?
RETR is better. RETR is better, man.
And that's the other lesson learned from the failures, right? I was like, you know what? Don't fight your customer. If they're all saying it, just give into it. I'm like, all right, RETR it is, Devin. RETR is better.
No, I'll never forget, man. We were having the conversation, and I was with another company who shall not be named, and you and I were talking through the project. I'm like, hey, when I introduced this to my team, somebody showed me this at a conference that I was at, and I was like, man, dude, so sick. I want to sponsor this product, right? Like I want to test it out. And we jumped on the call, and I kept calling it RETR. He's like, no, it's actually. He stopped me. He's like, no, it's not, right? And I was like, yeah, but Retter's better, man. And literally, I remember it was a couple weeks later and I saw it on the website. I was like, yes. He went with it, man. And, you know, it is better, though. Like, that's the whole thing. And that's why, you know, I wanted to bring you on the show and talk about it, because a whole lot of people already know. The cat's out of the bag, right? Like, there's a lot of people out there that know. But those of you that are in the industry that don't know what Steve has built, or Steven, right, has built with RETR, this is a platform that allows for you to look at your agents, know who you want to build partnerships with, look at your fellow loan officers, and know who you might want to actually have as an adversary and work on your team. But it gives you such instant access to all the information that you really need to build a partnership, and do it in a very organic, comfortable way, right? Because you can go out there and you can select the people that you're interested in working with. But it also has these really quick access tools, right, that allow for you to literally click on a button. I was talking to you about this before we jumped on here, right? We were in the green room, or I think I've officially called mine the orange room. You know, we're in the orange room, we're talking business. And, you know, basically I was like, look, man, you know, if people don't know what they can do with this tool, you know, I interview a lot of top tier agents, East Coast to West Coast. I also interview a lot of top tier loan officers, East Coast to West Coast. And a lot of the times I know who they are, but I don't know all the details. And so what I'll do about 5 minutes before I pop on to any meeting is I open RETR and I push them into my CRM system so that I have them there, so it's easy for me to get to them. And then I even have sequences for the podcast. Once I've got their data there, I just drop them into a bucket and it'll go out and try to get them on the show for me. But that's a whole different topic for another day. But then what I'm doing right before we jump on for the pre-podcast call is I'm looking at them. I'm looking at their Facebook. I'm looking at their Instagram. I'm looking at their LinkedIn. I'm looking at what they're doing on YouTube. I'm looking at what kind of numbers they're doing, what kind of territory they're working with, who they're working with. And I do this in about 2-3 minutes because of your tool, because of what you guys built. And that's just a fraction of what this thing does. I mean, we're talking about refinance opportunities with builder relationships, right? You know, the list goes on and on and on. And when it's missing something, I'll reach out to Steven and his crew, and I can't say it happens immediately, but sometimes it does. And voila, right? You guys are out there, you're enhancing it and you're building it and you're doing it on such an amazing scale and a speed of light that I've never seen in this industry. I think that's one thing that, you know, unfortunately in this industry we see often is things are very slow to progress. But with you and your program, Steven, you know, your crew is quick, man. You guys build stuff really fast. How do you do that?
Yeah, thank you, man. Like, that's our most favorite thing. This is why we build the company, because we just love creating cool stuff that moves the needle and changes lives.
Right.
And my background as an engineer, also my domain expertise as a real estate agent, allows me to understand the things that the requests that you make. I'm like, okay, that makes really good business sense. And if this is going to help you, I can see how it's going to help others. And we just want to improve your lives. Let's go build it. Why not? We don't have any investors. And so we're able to just like say, like, this makes sense to us. This can help our customers. Let's do the right thing.
Yeah, you don't have too many chiefs at the top of the thing going, no, this doesn't make enough sense. We're not going to make enough dollars from this. So why would we want to invest our time into building this? Instead, you've got an engineer brain that understands the market truly from the inside out, because you went and served in that market, right? And you know what the needs of the market are. And then when new ideas are introduced, you have that analytical mind that can go, there's value here. Our people need this value. And you have a team that can build it, man. And they do it so well. And I think that's the other thing I want to talk about is just aesthetically pleasing as your product is, right? There's a lot of programs out there on the market that just don't look good, right? You know, they may perform well. Yours actually looks good and it performs quick, right? You know, again, I've used some of these programs in the past where they're accessing data and it takes forever. How do you do that? Like, how do you build a program that looks great and actually accesses the data rapidly, right?
Yeah, well, like, we're just trying to build something that works as smoothly as you sound. And so the inspiration is Devin Dubuc's voice. Just make sure, like, all right, does that feel like Devin? But what we know, because like, I've got to give huge credit to my co-founder, Steve. We've known each other since 7th grade.
That's awesome, man.
We went to middle school together. We went to computer engineering school together. We've worked on a ton of projects together. I've been playing with computers since I was like 4 or 5, to the point where I got burnt out. but I can hack away like crazy.
I
But
believe it.
Steve, like he is so good and on top of things. He'll clean up my code, and what he does with my code, he also does with the user interface with the framework that we built. So
Okay.
everything's
Yeah.
custom built, which
Yeah.
allows us to control everything that we do. And the reason it works so smoothly and so quickly is we know what you're looking for. Because
Yeah.
my favorite thing is to have these conversations. I'll jump in on demos because I want to be plugged into the community to serve like what you actually need, what you need in your hands. And when I hear that, I hear what problems you're trying to solve. I start thinking in my mind about, all right, what does that data model need to look like? What does that user interaction need to look like? And so it comes all together. And then I talk to Steve and say like, hey, here's a new thing. We need these tables and these rows and these indexes, and it's going to interact with those things. So let's get those ready. And we just build.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, there's so many things that you can click on the page, but everything that you click leads to something that's needed and useful. And that's what I love about it. You know, I mean, I go in and I'm like, oh, contact info, bam. Okay. Oh, wow. Here's the Instagram page. Here's the Facebook page. Here's the YouTube page. I don't have to spend 20 minutes trying to track that person down to find them. Oh, you know what? I want to know how long they've been in the industry. Well, that's already there. But if it goes past that date, I quick link to NMLS, and bam, right there, I'm on NMLS, and I'm actually looking at their information, getting them. You know, it's funny. I was on a call the other day, again, talking about application use, and you know, it was a recruiting call, right? And you know, you got a quick amount of time to really connect with people on a recruiting call before they hit that receiver button that says, no, I'm not going to talk to this guy. I don't subscribe to your label, right? It was really funny because in seconds, I was able to say, hey, you know what really is strange here is if I'm right, you got in the industry the same year I did. I was like, did you start in 2002? She's like, yeah, I did. I was like, August 2002? I sure did. I was like, that's crazy. I was like, I actually started in August 2002 as well. And then I said, you know, it says here that you work for, I can't remember exactly the name, it started with an F Chevrolet prior to that, and you were in finance. And she's like, I did. I said, you know what's funny is right before I started in the mortgage industry, I worked for Friendly Chevrolet in Dallas, Texas. And so instantly we're kind of feeling it. And she's like, yeah, she's like, I was like, well, what got you in the mortgage business? She said, well, I actually adopted a child. And, you know, I had to get out of those long hours because if you ever worked in the car business, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. And then you stay till 10, 11 o'clock to write a contract. And you work it on Saturdays and, you know, you don't have a life. Now, I can't say that the mortgage industry is a ton different, but it is different. And it does give you time to spend time with the family. But at the end of this, I said, you know, what's funny is I got married right around that same time and adopted a child as well. And now all of a sudden, because of RETR and because of all the information that you guys had there in literally a split of a second, I was able to have that conversation, identify a lot of commonalities with this individual, and have a great conversation with somebody who may come over and join the team, right? And that's just on the recruiting side of the business, right? And being able to look at those launches. You know, there's other things. I'll tell you this one too, Steven. You know, I was at a meeting with an agent down in Florida. Now we'll switch gears from loan officer to agent, right? And a meeting with agent down in Florida. And, you know, basically she was, we were talking. And so I pulled RETR up right there in front of her because she's like, yeah, you know, we got our loan team and, you know, we're happy with our team where they're at. So I started showing her some of the tools that we use, right? You know, and one of them was RETR, and I pulled her up and I'm looking at it with her and I'm like, see, there you guys are. And I was like, oh, see, that's the guy you're talking about right there, right? She's like, wow, this is unbelievable. You have all this data. I'm like, of course, yeah, this is how we get to know the people that we want to work with. That's why we're here, because we want to work with you, right? Like we know this about you. We knew this ahead of time. And she was blown away, right? That I actually took that out and took the time to show her. And I'm like, well, what is it that Joe does that we're not doing, you know? And she started talking through it. And the next thing you know, I'm like, well, let me show you some stuff we're working on. And then I was able to give her a peek behind the curtains of some of the things we're doing here at Premier. And she goes, you know, Joe's actually not been doing his job lately. And we've been thinking about firing him. And guess what? Now we're partnering up with that agent. Why is that? It's because of your software, Steven.
Dude, that is so awesome to hear that you're using it the right way, because that's exactly why we built it. It's about improving the relationships in the industry, because the industry is all about relationships. You can't replace relationships with AI. You can replace relationships with humans. And that's exactly what you did there by treating someone like a person and not just a number. Because too many people, if they even get to hit the phones, will just make the call and know nothing about the person. Like if someone called you and just treated you like another number, would you want to talk to them? No. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. So what you've done is you've created a tool that allows for true human connection, and it's bridging the gap between lots of different pieces of software so that you can access it all in one place, all at one time. And you're also helping it communicate with other CRMs. I know that you guys have built out direct integration. It's funny. I'll give a shout out to Bonzo. I use those guys as well as other CRMs. But
What's up, Jason?
Yeah, my man. And we wanted to do the webhook, right, to get out the data link. And this is before you guys built out the back end interface for it, right, where it auto builds it. And it's funny because you're like, oh yeah, here's the API keys and all this stuff on our website, and you go over there and you program it. And so I did. So I took the time and I did the integration the old school way, where I had to build out the fields and plug it all in, and But then 2 weeks later, all of a sudden, you don't have to do that anymore, right? When I want to connect that piece of software with yours, all I've got to do now is go in and basically say I want to build a webhook with the RETR integration, push a button, and bam, all the fields are built out for me. It's already linked. I've got a webhook. I just drop that into my RETR site, and now all of a sudden I can push that data over directly, straight from your program into our CRM system, and I can do that in a level to where I can build out a list, have those clients say, I did this literally every single day. Like, I'll literally go in and somebody brings up somebody's name and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go check those guys out. So I go check them out. Oh, I like that person. I'm interested. I push them into my CRM system. And then from that point, I reach out, book an appointment, and then I put them into a sequence like I was talking about for the podcast that now goes after that person and communicates with them about coming on and joining on the show. And that's all automated, right? But the reason I can do that is because of what you guys have built, right? And the reason I can get to know that person that quickly, it's like, oh, I'm talking to this person. I'll literally be on a meeting up in the background. Let me get to know this person a little bit while I'm talking to them. They don't even know, right? And I'm looking them up and getting to know who they are. I'm like, dude, I really like this person. And then that, a lot of times, what pivots me to say, man, I think you should come be on the podcast. I would love to have you as a guest here. I think people need to hear what you have to see, right? So there's just so many applications for this thing. And it's funny. And I think you, Steve, have the foresight to stumble through, make the mistakes, and figure out that our industry needed such a tool, right?
Yeah, and we had no idea any other tools existed out there when we did build it, and now we know a lot more about it. And
they're not happy with you.
Well, the thing is, we appreciate and we respect them so much. To build something from nothing, we've been through that journey, and to get to where they are with all the success that they've had, that is no small feat. And so I have the utmost respect for them, for the journey that they've been on to get to where they are. It's not easy.
100%, man. Well, what's in store, man? What do you got coming out? I know you guys always are cooking something cool up in the kitchen, right? And some of it's, top secret, right? But what can you leak, right? What's down the pipe for RETR?
Okay, so the big thing is right now, everyone knows that there's companies out there that are trying to own the consumer end to end to keep you from having an opportunity. And we want to help be the industry's answer to keep loan officers relevant, because you heard what I was trying to do with realtors before until I learned how it works. And so I feel like we're on a journey to make sure that human stays a part of that, because borrowers, they need the humans. They need that shoulder, that therapist to take them through home buying and the lending process. So I think where we sit is right in the middle, where the active battle is for active purchase, active sales. We have a vision to help with what I'm calling the post nurture. We've just rolled out these home value reports that we're testing out. So play around with it. Let us know if you like it.
I've been working through it.
Okay. Then we can add that to your stack. So you've got the active battle that you're winning with RETR data, and then you'll have the long-term nurture, so you can get the next loan so they don't forget about you, because what is it, 70% will, 80%, 90%, 100% will, if you don't do something about it.
Be relevant. Yeah.
And then next we want to work on that pre-nurture. Right. And so we've got some ideas in place for that too, but we're never done building with what we have, because, man, you should see my Trello board. That's how we track a lot of ideas. Yeah. It's endless. But I will tell you one thing that's top secret, but won't be for too long, because we'll be telling people about it soon, but it's in regards to things that you're doing with recruiting, that those phone calls you're making. We're about to make it even better, because we're taking AI to analyze those loan officers to help you understand who they are, what their personality is like, and how. Oh yeah, and how to talk to them
out there on the internet.
Ooh, yep. And then throwing it into models to analyze them. Here's what Devin likes. Here's what he doesn't like. So
that's wild, man.
So much stuff.
You don't want to analyze me, Steven.
I'm happy with what we have. I don't want to know anymore.
Yeah, my man, my man. You know what's great is I've had a chance to to get in there and look at what you guys already have, and like you said, it's still in beta. But let's just talk about this real quick. You know, your beta is a lot of people's could never get there, right? Like, I mean, it's so good as it is. And, ultimately what it's going to do, guys, and I'm not going to talk about who it would potentially be a replacement for in your business, right? But think about this software that does all the stuff that we're talking about at one cost point, opposed to having to bridge multiple pieces of software together to do all the things that this thing does. Now let's add one more piece, right? And what's that piece? Well, that's the piece that gives you the ability to get out there and remind clients what their property might be worth and when it might be the right time for them to purchase, when it might be the right time for them to sell their home. And who is it boomeranging that back to? YOU, the loan originator. So anytime that client shows any type of interest in doing any of those things, it's recommending you again. So you're staying in front of them without actually having to pick up and reach out. Now, we're not saying replace that. Always reach out. Touch base with your people once a quarter. Let them know that you exist, right? Make sure that they know that they're important to you. But having tools like this that do this for you, and again, you didn't have to build this. You already had a great machine that did so many amazing things. But it's like, hey, but wait. We're just going to throw one more cool piece out there. And now you're working on something on the recruiting side. I mean, again, how cool is that, guys, right? Because what Steven's talking about is internet scraping, right? There's these really cool AI tools out there these days that can go out and it can take name, phone number, email address, and it can learn a lot of stuff about you because we're all over the place on the web. But then it's going to come back and deliver reports so that we know what the people that we're talking to actually like and don't like and how to communicate with them directly. Boom. Dude, man, brother, we've been waiting for this podcast for too long, man. But I appreciate you letting the cat out of the bag a little. I know that's just a small peek behind the curtains. And I'd love to see that board and what goes on in the mind of a genius or geniuses, because it sounds like the Stevens and the Steves in the world are doing some pretty cool stuff, man.
Dude, yeah, come on over. Let's talk shop because we just love talking to people, understanding what will move the needle for you. Keep on sending us your feedback, your thoughts, because we're listening. We're listening, and we're going to do something about it.
They are 100%. These guys are action takers. And again, I've seen a lot of software companies that sell out and stop the business, right? They stop doing the thing that got them there. And that's the one thing with Steve is there's no selling out, right? Like, I'm not saying you're never going to do it, right? But at the end of the day, you haven't yet, and man, what you've got is it's a Ferrari in the garage, right? And maybe not even a Ferrari. There's some new little micro brands that are doing these $2-3 million project cars, right? Like, I think it's more like one of those, right? Because if you don't know how to drive the thing, you need some education on that. And Steven, you guys are doing that too, right? Like, you have some folks back there that if somebody gets in there and they're like, I don't know, I can figure out some of it, but like, I need to know all do you have people out there that are helping train as well?
Yeah, our live chat, we've got live people. Our emails are supported by real people. Everyone's in the United States, and you'll get help. One of the things here is when we built this company, we built it in a way that we asked ourselves, like, if we were going to be customers, what would we want it to be like? And so everyone that comes to work here, they start from the bottom, and they'll answer the support emails. They have to learn everything before they graduate to different steps. And so you need help, you got help. We're here.
Well, and I knew that, man. I didn't know the last part, and I love that. I absolutely love that. That's one way that I've always promoted within is to bring people in and learn from the very, very bottom part of the business all the way up to the top. And I do the same thing, right? At the end of the day, anytime that I start a new project, I want to sit in and do it myself and actually learn how it works so that as I grow up and develop that business, I know what everybody's potential pain points are, right? And that's what you guys are doing. And that's how amazing businesses are developed, man. Seriously. Again, hats off to you guys, brother. Amazing, I'm using that word too much. Unbelievable program that you've built and just continue to build upon, but when the folks out there, well, actually, let's do this, man. Let's do this. What did we not cover today that we should have?
What did we not cover? I feel like you gave like a pretty good demo of RETR.
Without even showing it. I could see it. I could see it as we were talking.
Well, I guess the most important thing is like not everyone knows about RETR. Yeah. And that's on purpose because for the longest time, we just try to stay in the shadows to build an awesome product. but now a lot of people are starting to chat more about it. And so what you should know is if you're using data out there, like data is everything, but at the same time, it's nothing. If you're not doing anything with it, if you're not loading up in your systems and taking action, it's worthless. And what we tell people is like, we don't want to be an unused gym membership, and we want to prove our value to you so that we give you more than we get back. And so if you are using data, or if you want to try using data to grow those relationships, come on over. It's free. It's free to try. You got a free trial. And we recently launched something which is called our partnership promise. You might have seen Greg Share's post about it, where we're letting enterprises on to try as well. And if you don't like it, then you can, like, even after you sign, you can get out, because we don't want you to feel stuck there, trapped. We just want to build useful things. And so try us out for free, whether you're an individual or an enterprise. There's lots of options. We make it very easy, and we just want to provide value to you.
That's huge, man. You know, and I didn't know you were doing that with the enterprise piece. You know, branch managers, business owners in this industry, right? I mean, we all got pigeonholed, held back in 2021, 22, coming out of the tail end of COVID, when we had all these different programs and products that, you know, really worked well during the pandemic. But when it was over, we didn't need a lot of the tools that we had before, right? But all of us were on these one-year contracts. And while our businesses were in a position where they were failing, we didn't get the easy out that Steven's given people here to be able to move away from those programs. Now, Steven's program is one that I don't think you'll ever need to move away from, but knowing that that is an option, right? You can go in and take the Pepsi challenge and learn for yourself, right? That's a home run, brother. So, you know, again, just giving away cool stuff, you know, for people to be able to learn what's out there, man, on an enterprise level, dude. That's huge, right? So, brother, Steven, when the folks out there want to find you, how do they find you guys?
Yeah, hit me up on LinkedIn. Really easy to find. I think there's only one Steven Wynands out there.
Yeah, I think you're right. So LinkedIn, or if they want to just come check out the website.
Yeah, just retr.app. retr.app. Check us out.
That's it, guys. And, you know, if you're driving and weren't able to catch that, write it down. Just go look at the description. We're going to have that there. If you're watching in, you probably saw it roll right across the bottom of the screen. And this one, by the way, no paid sponsorship here. I am actually a user and don't work for RETR. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, I'm going to tell you right now, like, this is a tool that you need to have in your business if you want to create successful patterns and build long-term lasting relationships. The detail here is endless. So go over and check out RETR. Take that challenge for yourself. It's definitely approved by Premier Lending and approved by Devin Dubuc. And, you know, if you don't like it, I'll be really surprised. But put some comments down there in the bottom. I think Steve and I both would love to hear what you don't like, because I'm pretty sure he'll fix it. But also go find these guys on their social channels. You know, make sure that you like, follow, subscribe to the channel, like and follow ours. And anybody you know in the industry that needs to hear this, share it. Share this out there. Let them know what exists, and let them know that they can get the information that they need at a really great value, with all kinds of new stuff coming all the time. So, guys, I think that's going to cover it for today. Steven, man, thank you for taking the time to sit in and talk RETR with me, brother. And thank you for everything that you do, man. You may have had some struggles in the beginning, but man, you are finishing strong, brother, with what you guys have built with RETR, man. So thank you for your failures, because they have led to one hell of a success. Until the next time, guys, we'll see you then.
Thank you. See ya.